Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm the Bishop of the Burn, Nick, and today I've got a fun episode for you today. I am going to be joined in just a second by Ed Sullivan and his friend Tony V, professional comedian Tony V. So we're going to get to chatting in a little bit, and we've got all kinds of funny stories and everything else to go with it, so you're going to enjoy it. So sit back and enjoy, guys. Well, I am joined today by Ed Sullivan, and you brought a fun guest with you.
Yes, this is my friend Tony V.
That is I.
What's up, Tony?
How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I was texting with Sean and Paul. They were the guys down at PCA with me.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And we were talking about sitting around the fire with you at the hotel.
At the hotel, yeah, it was great.
Just how that was just such a random happenstance. It's like we're sitting around the fire, and all of a sudden they're like, "Is that Tony?" And you're just walking to have a cigar by yourself. And
Yeah,
it's like,
I was looking for a dumpster.
yeah. Well, you found us, so I mean,
close enough.
Close enough.
Close enough.
So, anyway.
Tony's always happiest smoking near a dumpster.
Well, I mean, I've done that before.
Yeah, because no one bothers you. You know what I mean? There's nothing. They can't be offended by cigar smoke if you're seeking out a dumpster.
Back when I had my office for the newspaper, I would go out the back door, and there was 2 steps, and on the concrete pad at the top of the steps was the door, and it was our dumpster.
Yeah.
So I would just sit on the top step, use that as a chair, and I mean, I'm right by the dumpster. And everybody walking by, going in and out that back door, not a single person had a problem with the cigar smoke. They'd say hi and whatever else.
Yeah.
Nobody had any problem because I'm sitting by the dumpster.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
We wanted Tony to be comfortable, so he brought his own dumpsters with him.
I see this. This is great.
Actual artwork.
Dumpster artwork, and then a buddy of mine made me a dumpster humidor.
Now that's brilliant right there.
It's brilliant.
It's got wheels.
It's got
on
working wheels on it, so I can always be by a dumpster, and it keeps my cigars fresh. It doesn't really get better than that.
That's fantastic. The only way that could have maybe been better is if you would have incorporated some big table light or something like this, to where you could put it in there, and then you'd have the dumpster fire.
Oh, a dumpster fire, that'd be good.
Oh, see.
Also have a dumpster ashtray, right?
I do have a dumpster ashtray. Yeah.
Oh, well, you have to get a dumpster lighter from something.
That's what we need. Dumpster fire.
Ed, you need to talk to the fine folks at Vertigo or whoever it is. They sponsor your light. They could have the Tony V exclusive dumpster fire lighter.
That would be awesome.
I
think so.
I have a home dumpster at one of the comedy clubs here in Boston, and we were all before one of my shows. I guess it was after a show, and one of our more famous friends. I'm not going to out anybody, but one of our more famous friends came by. And we're just having a good time. And he says, I thought we worked all these years so we wouldn't have to do this. And I said to him, you got 2 options. You can sit and have a cigar with us, or you can leave. Those are your options.
And what did he do?
He sat and had a cigar with us, and he goes, this is the best thing that's ever happened.
Yeah.
I go, good. Don't question me ever again.
See, and that's what he worked hard for, was the opportunity to sit and have the cigar.
Yes.
He was probably tasting some smoke.
Oh.
All right.
No, we're not going to out anybody. But what we are going to do today is we are going to smoke the Perdomo Legacy Connecticut Epicure. It's a 6x54. And according to the fine folks at Perdomo, the 10-year aged Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper is complemented by a Nicaraguan shade-grown binder and premium Nicaraguan fillers sourced from the Perdomo family's most prestigious farms in Esteli, Condega, and the famed Jalapa Valley. These beautiful honey-colored
Yeah.
Ecuadorian Connecticut wrappers undergo bourbon barrel aging for a minimum of 8 months, ensuring a smooth and creamy medium-bodied profile with a subtle hint of spice on the finish.
And Tony and I never eat out of a dumpster, but we're going to smoke out of
one
a
today.
dumpster today.
You know, that's good. That's good.
And Ed, what do we know about the cigar and its core?
Well, what we know is that normally neither you nor Nick are a fan of
Not a big fan.
Connecticut shade wrap cigar.
Generally not.
No.
And Tony figured out though why this one is so good.
You know what it is?
What is it?
Dude, it's the fucking binder.
Okay.
The binder.
All right.
The binder. It's the fucking binder makes the cigar.
So this is my first legacy. I haven't had any. I bought, and I haven't had any of them. I bought I bought 2 of each of the 3 different wrappers. They came, I don't know, a couple weeks. It was in time for the last time we were, you know, we had a little bit of a schedule thing, and so we pushed this back. But it was in time for that, and so I've been sitting on them for a little bit. And I haven't smoked any of them. I wanted the first time to try the fucking binder to be, here with you guys. So
Yeah.
Right.
There we go.
It's confusing for you because you're usually a sun-grown guy with Perdomo.
I am.
Guess what?
So,
No sun-grown.
No sun grown. They got
I know.
they got a shade grown,
Very,
which used to be the opposite of a sun grown.
it's very confusing for me.
I
Very confusing.
yeah. This is why I don't get too much into the cigar lore.
Yeah.
You know, people hand me something. They go, "What do you think?" I go, "It's good."
Well, it's time to cut the cigar in the official. I got to get this in, or else Dave's going to be upset. You know?
Yeah.
So it's time to cut the cigar, and the official cutting is brought to you by 2guyscigars.com. That's the number 2guyscigars.com. 2 Guys have been around for 40 years, and they are the trusted name in the cigar industry. Everybody knows 2 Guys, but if you don't, please give them a try. You won't be sorry. Family owned and operated, 2guyscigars.com does the very best to provide a great selection, fair prices, and excellent customer service. It's where I got my Perdomo Legacies. So please go to 2guyscigars.com for your next cigar purchase. Tell them that the Cigar Pulpit sent you. And remember, that's the number 2guyscigars.com. And with that,
Where was it? 2 Guys?
2 Guys.
Tony, you been there?
Where's that?
It's here. It's right
Oh,
where we are.
oh, nice. Oh, all right. Yeah. Then to answer your question, yeah, I've been there.
How convenient.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got a couple of 2 Guys customers right there. So, now you guys also come up and party on Tuesdays up there. Tuesdays at 2 Guys. My God.
That's what we do. Yeah.
Yep. It's Tuesdays with stories. Dave has stories.
I
Tony
have
has
stories. Ed has stories.
Take a cold draw on that, Nick, and you're going to taste sweetness that you're usually lacking.
No, you're right. It's, oh, man. It's
It's honey.
honey and, maybe, God, I hate to be like the Jonathan here, but it's kind of that, juicy fruit stripe gum kind of sweetness thing going on. There's that, but the honey is definitely there.
See, this is one that I usually take a little pause before lighting it because the cold draw is so pleasant on this.
It is really good.
It really is.
I think we should probably light them anyway, you think?
So yeah, probably. So is that the binder? You think that's the binder?
Oh, it's the
Dude, it's
binder.
the binder.
There's
So
no
then,
question.
okay. So then on the shade grown, not the sun grown, but the shade grown, they use that for the wrapper. So then, do you get that flavor on the cold draw just immensely more, or is it?
You definitely get the sweetness. I think, they're using a different binder on that.
Well,
though.
of course, yeah.
So that one's got a little hint of spice, too.
Okay.
I'm not you know me. I grab a cigar and I light it.
I know.
There's no ritual about it or
But
whatever.
This is
But this is very nice. I mean, I seldom cold draw a cigar.
I mean, what kind of, do you think it's Tupelo honey, Tony?
It's as sweet as.
It's as sweet as Tupelo honey.
I'm going to light
Yeah, I do know that you do that, Tony, because I remember sitting around that fire, and I was giving you a cigar because you ran out, and you're like, I'll just take whatever. And so I just reached in you had me reach in the box or whatever just to pull whatever out for you. It's like there was no consideration of what you were going to smoke at all.
No, but like when I'm with cigar guys, I assume. I mean, I looked in your travel case and I go, oh, this guy knows cigars.
Yeah.
He's not going to smoke something terrible. He's not going to give me something terrible.
Unless you're dealing with Jonathan, where he's got, the whole row of crap that he gives to other people.
Oh, I have giveaway cigars.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have like 8 or 10 Victor Sinclairs I keep on at the ready.
Yeah, but
I'm not going to give that to somebody like you guys.
Yeah,
No,
if you're a qualified cigar smoker, then you deserve a decent cigar.
What we came up with the change in attitude in 1 second is when somebody hands you a cigar, and then you go, oh, thanks, and then you look and you go, it's an acid.
That's not a cigar.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And do you always pretend or no?
It depends on the person.
Yeah.
If I really don't like it, I go, oh, thanks, I'll save this one for later. And then I'll give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
I have a tube cigar that somebody gave me, cherry flavored. And it's,
oh, boy.
And it's the most awful smell that you'll ever smell.
Cough syrup?
Yeah, it's just like sickening, and I keep it, and I just keep it to annoy my wife with it. And she'll forget about it. So every 2 or 3 weeks, I'll go, hey, you want to smell something terrible?
So this was a long time ago. I did a show with somebody, and we were talking about pipe tobacco. And the only cigar they had there that was reminiscent or maybe made from pipe, it was a cherry. Cherry bomb or whatever the fuck it was called. I don't even remember. That thing tasted like cherry cough syrup the whole way through.
Yeah.
It was just the most foul cigar I've ever smoked.
Vile.
It really was. But
no,
I did a TV show one time, Misfits and Monsters. And I was playing a editor of a newspaper. It was an old-timey thing. And I was smoking cigars, but you can't smoke cigars on set.
No?
No. So they gave me the herbal cigars.
Yeah, they're made of clove and all that kind of crap and whatever.
And I go, I can't do this. It's just an affront to my person.
It's supposed to protect the people on set.
On set, from my cigar smoke.
But nobody has studied the effects of secondhand clove smoke.
You just develop an unrelenting urge to eat ham.
I will say, I've been pleased. I don't know if you guys have paid any attention whatsoever, but I noticed this. The new Superman movie coming out here in the next couple of weeks. So the guy who plays Perry White, the newspaper, editor and everything, he's been seen in trailers and pictures and everything. They've got him holding a cigar, he's smoke. I don't know if it's a clove one or a real one, but his character on screen will be smoking a cigar, and I'm like, holy shit, that's an advancement in and of itself.
That is, they say that smoking in the film has come back a lot. They used to shy away from it completely.
Sly Stallone was smoking a Perdomo on Tulsa King.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're starting to see it periodically.
And it's not Christopher Reeves as Superman, right?
Oh no.
Nobody likes the skinny Superman.
No. Is it the ice cream guy?
I don't know.
Carvel?
No, it's Corn Sweat.
Who?
Some guy, David Corn Sweat.
He's a new guy? A new Superman?
Yeah, they got a new Superman. But he's got a dog.
What?
So,
Like the sweat of a...
Wait, Crypto's in it?
Yeah, Crypto's in it.
Oh, this is man.
That's Tony's favorite Crypto.
I like Crypto. Crypto looks pretty cool. Crypto right now is stealing the show and all the like trailers and stuff.
Sure.
So I'm looking forward to that. But
Oh, do you
but
think it's one of those robot dogs?
Boy,
those things are creepy as shit, aren't they?
oh my God, it's the bane of my existence. I think we're getting over. They're putting machine guns on robot dogs, and we're all supposed to go, oh, that's fine. Yeah, no, that's not going to come back to bite us in the ass, is it?
I'll tell you what, they had that one at PCA walking around in the aisles, and I was doing everything I could to avoid that thing.
Oh my God, that was so creepy.
It really was.
Started dancing at one point.
It's like the real dogs. It could tell Tony didn't like it.
Yeah.
Yes. So he got closer.
Yeah. Well, he was pissing battery acid on everything.
Oh, shit. Well, okay, so Tony, just, you've been on the Cigar Authority. People that listen to that obviously know you, but this is your first time here. So
Yeah.
let's introduce you to a few of my listeners that maybe aren't familiar as much
Oh,
with you.
why bother them?
Well, just to give a little context. So,
All right, go ahead.
So when did you get into comedy?
Many, many, many years ago in the early 80s here in Boston.
Okay.
And I was working as a social worker, and I used to go to these clubs to, decompress from a stressful day, taking kids away from their parents and whatnot. And although that seems to be a trend now too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it all comes full circle. And so I started, hanging out at this comedy club, but it was in its early months. It'd been, it was very new to Boston to have a full-time comedy club. And then one night the MC didn't show up. They asked me to introduce people, and I got hooked. And then, it's like a bad joke gone bad. It was just a series of misunderstandings.
The summary of your
My career, a series of. Or as Ralph Cramden from the Honeymooners used to say, the glorious results of a misspent youth.
Now there are comedians that talk very highly of you. So is it Nick DiPaolo?
Yeah, I've done a movie with Nick, and I've known him for years.
He talks super highly of you and Lenny Clark being trailblazers in the Boston comedy scene. And, paving way for guys like him and Bill Burr and everything else. And so I just want to know, do you have any stories about, kind of when you started and kind of the difficulties that maybe you experienced, but then also, do you have any Nick DiPaolo stories?
Nicky and I get along really well. We couldn't be any more different as people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we stick to sports and whatnot, and we get along great. He makes me laugh consistently. And, I have been in rooms with Nick where, I'll put this one as delicately as I can, where in between shows one time, the manager of a club had to say to him, Nick, listen, I don't censor anybody, but you really can't call a woman that name.
Would it be a word that perhaps if we were over in Ireland, we could say just liberally and it was no big deal?
We could say it as much as we wanted, and no one would look askance at us. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Here.
Okay.
But Tony, have you ever had occasion to use that word on stage?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I never called anybody that. I had a woman who was terrible, and I said to her, "Ma'am, can I say it?"
Yeah.
Yeah. I said,
I don't
"Ma'am,
care."
you are acting in a very cunt-like manner." I said, if you continue with this cunt-like manner, you'll force me to call you a cunt. I do not want to do that. So please, if you would, stop with this cunt-like behavior. And the manager came up to me afterwards. He goes, "Did you call that?" I go, "I absolutely did not. I did not call her that."
I warned her I was going to.
I pointed out that she was heading that way.
Oh shit. Well, so going back to I mean, like you coming up and everything. I mean, it kind of based off that kind of comment, it makes it sound like, was it rougher when
It
you
was
were
way
starting
rougher
out?
when we
Okay.
started out. I mean, the clubs here, it was like the Wild West around here
Yeah.
because our only other, influences or the only place we had seen comedy before was like in L.A. or New York, and they were established clubs and had been around for a long time. And we were just starting from the ground up, and it was run by comics for comics, and it took off in such a manner that we were overpacking rooms, and then we started with one-nighters. Because in New England you can drive an hour in any direction and be in another state. So
Yeah.
with all these one-nighters with people who didn't know from comedy, they didn't know they were getting. And there'd be people, playing cards and would go to biker bars that had a Tuesday night that they didn't do anything. We used to do a show regularly at a place called the Naughty Pine.
Okay.
The
Is that
famous Naughty
spelled
Pine.
with a K
With
or an N?
it was a K, I believe, but it was other than that. And we did shows there for I'm going to say 10 or 12 years, and it was never good once.
Never
Not
once.
once. Nobody wanted comedy. We didn't want to go, but they'd pay you cash money, and then we did another. We had there was a chain around here called. It was named after an injury, the Charlie Horse.
Okay.
It was Charlie Horse Cafe. And it was a pool hall, and had games and whatever. And then they had a room. And one night I got heckled by 101% of the audience.
Oh God.
Like there was a guy not even at the show. He was over shooting pool. And he walked over between his shots to tell me I sucked. And he literally just standing in the doorway holding a cue goes, "You suck." And then the next thing I hear is, "Eddie, it's your shot." Walked out of the room. And to that point, everyone else in the audience had something to say.
Was the strip club scene over then, or
We dabbled in the strip club
because
scene.
Leno did a lot?
Yeah,
of that,
yeah,
right?
because there weren't established clubs back then, and we did a couple where you'd MC the strip. You'd come out in between the strippers and do comedy, or they'd try to do a show before it, and they never went well.
We have a fairly thriving strip club scene here in my area, but I don't think I've ever seen any advertisements for stand-up comedy there. Midget wrestling seems pretty popular at the strip club.
At the strip club, yeah.
I mean, at the time the strip clubs were doing it, there was no other place.
There was no other place. Right. Well, yeah, and they had supper clubs. There was the Chateau and all of these places that you'd have an opening act, and then they started putting shows in there.
Well, it seems like stand-up comedy really blew up in the 80s.
It was insane. It was nothing we imagined. Certainly in Boston, you know what I mean. We were just doing it because.
Well, you could do 3 different clubs walking a couple hundred yards.
Oh yeah, there was one time in Boston in the late 80s. There were 5 clubs within, I'm going to say, 200 yards of each other.
Oh my gosh!
There were 3 on the same street. There was the Comedy Connection, Nick's Comedy Stop, and a place called Joker's right across the street in a hotel. And then across the street from that on the other side was a place called Duck Soup. And then you'd walk through one building and there was the Comedy Vault. So those all were running simultaneously. And sometimes we would be booked in all 4 or 5 of the clubs.
In a night.
Wow.
In a night. Yeah, you'd be on stage and you'd get off and they go, "Hey, somebody didn't show up down at Nick's. We go down and do 20
over there."
Yeah. Sure.
And you'd have a pile of cash. I mean, your expenses were high in those days.
Well, yeah, cocaine didn't, they didn't just hand you that.
No.
They did. I mean, they did it first.
Well, actually,
Yes.
There were clubs that paid in that country.
Yes, you had options. You could get paid in cash, you could get paid in coke, or you could get half and half, which always turned into.
I think it was Gavin who had something where he says, "Well, yeah, but Also, I want to eat.
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. We had
Oh
we
my
had
God.
we had one club in the green room. There was a light switch that was, maybe a quarter of an inch away from the wall. Wasn't quite screwed in, and someone would go on stage and would all put up like $20 and do the over under on how long he was going to do. You know, it was this one particular comedian,
Yeah.
he's supposed to do a half hour and we'll go 12 minutes tops. And no, he's going to make 20. No, and would all put, and it didn't matter because the money was all going to go to buy blow for us anyway. So whoever won,
Yeah, I think you could safely say the 80s comedy scene in Boston was brutal.
it was brutal. It was, or brutalist.
I mean, I still hear national comedians talking about the Boston scene and talking about how they were treated
Oh yeah,
when they came
Oh
down.
yeah, because we became very popular in our own right, and then national headliners started coming in, or the bookers started bringing in national headliners, and we have such a working class mentality that we're going to be damned if we're going to let these guys show us up. So they would stack a show before them, and I can remember Richard Lewis literally weeping of a room. How am I supposed to follow this? It's like Caligula's birthday. Yeah.
Oh my
And
God.
Colin Quinn tells a very famous story about we, had to be escorted off stage because there was going to be a riot because he was from New York.
Wow. Oh, okay, I can see that.
And it just anything to do with New York, we wanted nothing to do.
It does seem like you guys there do breed a different breed of comedian. I mean, like, one of the things, not to like go, back to Bill Burr here, but for like, one of the things that I always think about with him is that video of the time that he got up and was getting heckled, and he basically just ripped on the audience for what?
Oh, in Philly.
11 minutes or something. It was that in
It
Philly.
was close to the 18. It's one of the
Okay.
greatest things I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, he just ripped him a new one right there on the stage.
And it was a stadium. It was the Philadelphia, the arena in Philly. It was one of the Howard Stern tours. So comics or whatever. I think it was Howard Stern, whatever, or Opie and Anthony, maybe Opie and Anthony.
Okay.
Sure. And they hated him. And he's so knowledgeable. He went through all their sports teams,
their failures,
and how much they suck. And, you got a statue to a guy that's not even a boxer. Rocky statue.
Rocky.
And he went on, and he would tick down the time. And I have 11 minutes left, and then he do it again. And I saw a crowd. I've never seen this before or after. A crowd go from abject hate to tolerance to positively loving him. They're cheering at the end, cheering him at the end. And he's got 2 minutes left. And then he says something, somebody boos, he goes, "I'll be selling CDs in the lobby."
It's just brilliant. And it's something that
one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen.
But it's something that you got to figure that, like, a town like Boston probably had to breed that kind of a comedian. That's not nobody from St. Louis is coming out and doing shit like that,
Yeah, no. I remember doing St. Louis, the club. It was in the old train station.
Okay.
Now
that's the aquarium, but yeah, I know.
The old train station's an aquarium?
Yeah, they built an aquarium in Union Station down there.
Oh, yeah, they used to have a comedy club in it.
Yeah.
It was one of my first forays into doing the road like that, and I loved it. I loved the ballpark. I went to a couple of ball games while I was there. It was a beautiful ballpark and stuff.
We do like our baseball in St. Louis.
Yeah, and you're good at it. And I remember doing the thing, and I had my Boston hackles up ready to do battle. And I go, "Oh my God, these are polite people who are listening." Whatever.
It's that Midwestern niceness.
Yeah, man.
Exactly.
It was a very positive experience.
Tony, how many times have you been physically attacked on stage? And I know you can't come up with a number.
I can't really come up with a number. I've been threatened, in the dozens.
Right.
I've had ashtrays thrown at me. I had a gun pulled on me, not pulled, but shown to me.
Weren't you almost killed by Leonard Skinner?
We did. Yeah. I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and it was their amphitheater, the outdoor thing, and I was emceeing. I was emceeing a show for Bobcat Goldthwait and what's his name? Now it's escaping me. I'm old.
Really?
He did football briefly. He used to be a Democrat. Now he's a Republican. Slurpy guy. He was on SNL. Did the news. Anybody?
News.
Yeah.
I
I don't know.
Anyway,
I don't know.
it was a pretty big deal, and it was Goldthwait and him, and I was emceeing the show, and Goldthwait never wanted to pull punches or anything. We were almost done with the show, and somebody yelled something out about Leonard Skinner. They started, and there was always a joke with
the
us.
free bird.
Free bird, Skinner, bird, and the lighters are going off and stuff like that. And I'm already done. I'm in the wings, and Goldthwait was doing his character at the time, and also a dear friend of mine. And he goes, "Listen, you crackers, Leonard Skinner's not here. They're dead."
Oh, Jesus.
They're dead. They've been dead for some time. If they were here, they couldn't come up. You know why? They're dead.
Dad.
He goes, "Southern sons of bitches." He goes, "There's no chickens in the bread pan picking out dough. The South ain't going to rise again. And Leonard Skinner is dead."
Oh,
Right? And then all of a sudden, we see these woolly biker guys like crawling up on the stage, and one of them goes, "We're alive!" And it was the surviving members
Oh, shit.
in it. They had done it in Florida, and they were such big fans of Goldthwait that they flew to catch his show in Atlanta. "We're alive, man! Woo!" And so Goldthwait drops his character completely, and he looks over at me. He goes, "Tony, start the car." And as this was happening, the stage manager is going, "You got to go tell them they're in there." I go, "I'm not doing a damn thing. He's not." I go, he goes, "Well, what should we do?" I go, "Here's what you do. Turn the car around, have the doors open, get me 2 waters and 3 towels. That's all you got to do." And Goldthwait drops character completely. He goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, Leonard fucking Skinner." He hands them the mic, and he walks off stage. We get in the car and drive away.
Oh, shit.
We have no idea what happened after that.
He just abandoned it. I love it.
He just pulled the cord, man. That's
Oh,
it.
shit.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
We've
Yeah.
had times.
Boy, that guy's a character. I mean, everybody, most people know him from the Police Academy movies and everything.
Yeah.
But, yeah, shit, man. He's been around a long time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We one time had to back down 5 Marines because they took exception to something he said. I go, "You're gonna get
Boy,
us."
that's a fight you typically don't want to enter,
Oh, but I didn't have the brains to do it. And you had to back them up. I was also much bigger at the time, and didn't have much brains either. We talked down some mafia guys in New York City.
He was involved in the mafia incident, right?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was dating. He was the incident.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he was dating a starlet at the time, and we were having dinner at in New York, and these mob guys come over, and they sort of like flank the table, and they start talking to the woman like we don't exist. "I just want to say I love you. You're a good actress, and you're a very beautiful woman," and blah blah blah. And I'm looking at Goldthwait. He's looking at me, and I go, "Oh man, we are gonna be fucking end up in a dumpster."
Oh God.
And she's looking at us, and I stand up and I go, "Fellas, I know I'm taking my life in my hands, but this is just it's wrong. You can't." And the guy, now they close in a little bit on me, and the head guy goes, I'll give you this, kid. You got balls." I go, "No, sir, I don't have balls. I got no brains." And they laughing and have a good night, And I go, "All right, that's over." But I said to Goldway, I go, "You're walking out of this place first."
Sounds like you have to make a lot of escapes.
There was a lot of escaping.
I mean, it sounds like it. I mean, but at least you thought to have him go first. But I mean, it's
not that dumb.
Well, no, but it sounds like it was a very polite way of telling these guys to back off the date.
Yeah. I mean, listen, when you're around enough, and when you start branching out, back in the day, those guys had their fingers in, a lot of the places I did business. There's no getting around that. I worked mob clubs, many, many times, and so you get to know, what you can do and what you can't do.
Yeah.
Ended up getting stabbed. Yeah.
Yeah, that would put a damper on the evening.
Yeah. Second show anyway.
There you go. So I'm looking at your IMDb, and you've got a lot of credits here. Some stand out pretty clearly. Obviously, there's that episode of Seinfeld that you were on.
The Umbrella Twirler.
Okay.
And it here on my dumpster, by the way.
Nice. But you're also Dr. Katz, professional therapist.
Yep.
I used to watch that on I think it was on USA back in the day.
Was it USA, the Cartoon Network?
Was it?
No, Comedy Central, wasn't it?
Was Comedy Central? That's it.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me about that. That had to have been an interesting experience.
Yeah, that was a weird thing because it was all sort of done a la carte. You would just go in, and Jonathan would be there. And it was all voiceover.
Yeah.
You would just have a conversation like this, and then work the material he wanted in. And
it always seemed very casual. Like when you were watching the show, I mean, obviously it's animated, but when you listen to the voices, it sounded like just super casual back and forth.
That's all it was. It wasn't. There was no script. There was no script at all.
Really?
No, it was just, you're going in for therapy, or, you're going to meet Dr. Katz on the street or whatever it is. And then you would and Jonathan's one of the most brilliant comics I've ever worked with.
He's so dry, but I love it.
Oh my God. He's so dry. Sometimes I've known him for years, and you never know if he's yanking your chain or not.
Yeah.
I was having dinner over his house one time, and he was getting ready to do the Tonight Show, and this was going to be late 80s, early 90s, I'm guessing. And he goes, "Listen, I got to do the Tonight Show, and I want you and your wife to help me pick out, what I'm going to wear, because it was suit and tie back there."
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we go, yeah. So he disappears, and he comes back wearing shorts and a Nehru jacket. And for a second, I go, I don't know if this is a gag or not, And it purely was.
Okay.
He was really good at that, yeah.
So, I asked you this at the fire, but I'm going to ask you this now publicly. So of all the various projects you've been a part of, what is what was your favorite one and why?
There's a lot. I did a series called Brotherhood for 3 seasons on Showtime, which I really enjoyed that work, and I learned a lot on that. And then again, my good friend Bobcat Goldthwait hired me to do a a movie called The World's Greatest Dad. And I got to work opposite Robin Williams, who, we were friendly, not super good friends at the time. And I got to work with him, and that was like one of the biggest treats of my existence.
Okay. So then I don't know if you want to get into details, but let's flip the coin. Let's look at the other side. Any projects that you're just like, fuck, that was miserable?
I did a small part in a movie called Chappaquiddick.
Okay. I've seen that.
About the Kennedy thing. Yeah, I was the floor director or whatever. And I think I literally had to count backwards from 10. And that was it. I mean, there was a couple other things.
How many
ready,
takes?
set.
How many takes?
The director was such a fucking asshole. He's going, don't you know how to count back from 10? And I go,
oh, shit.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
So he's teasing you as you're doing it?
9, 8, 7. I got it. Yeah. He goes, well, your rhythm's off. I go, it's my rhythm. How can my rhythm be off? It's my rhythm. And he was just such a miserable prick, this guy. And he was the kind of guy who'd treat the stars with kid gloves and then just shit on the rest of us.
Yeah.
That was not good. And then I worked with on a couple of projects with David O. Russell.
Okay.
He's a notorious lunatic in the business. He's sort of spectrum-y and makes good movies, but he had a reputation of being really difficult to work with, and I experienced that firsthand where we're doing a scene, and I had a tie on and a jacket, and he didn't like it. So he says to me, take off your tie. I go, okay. And I start taking off. I said, take off your fucking tie. I'm in the process of taking off my tie. He goes, are you going to take off that tie or not? I go, I'm going as fast as I can.
I mean, it takes a minute.
It takes a minute to get a tie off.
Sorry, the cleaner's coming through.
Yeah,
it's okay.
We have a man come in every couple of days.
I had my cleaners come through yesterday, so I understand. You better watch it with him standing behind you. You don't know what's going to happen.
You don't know. As long as there's no lectins in the cigar, I think we'll be fine.
Oh.
And then one of the best auditions I ever had was with Ben Affleck.
Okay.
Or The Town.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a small part in that. And the audition was one of the most fun times I've ever had doing anything I've ever done, where I got the call back and they go, you're going to meet the director. And I go, fine. You try to be blasé about these things. Yeah. And for some reason, I didn't put it together that it was him. and I walked in the room and Ben Affleck standing there, and he was in the middle of getting ready to be Batman.
Okay.
Oh, he was ripped. He was jacked. I mean, I've never seen a physical. Him and Gronkowski are the two best physical specimens I've ever witnessed in my life in person. He looked like he chiseled out of marble, Huh. So I walk in and completely, I just go, dude, I didn't know you were going to be here. He goes, well, it's my movie. I go, yeah, okay.
Still thinking he's the actor.
Yeah. He goes, oh, you're directing this. He goes, yes. And I go, all right, I'm not going to challenge you on it. I just asked. And then we start fucking howling, and then we bust balls with each other for 20 minutes.
Nice.
Not a scene read, not a word said, just two guys from Boston shitting on each other and laughing. And so I go, okay, see you on set. And he goes, aren't you going to read the scene? I go, why ruin a good day?
Well, see, there you go. Yeah, you got the part.
He goes, I think contractually I have to ask you to read the scene. So I go, yeah, fine. I read the scene. He goes, hey, that was pretty good. I go, well, you're making a pretty good movie. You're making a real good movie.
Oh, shit. Now, you did tell me about a project that you did with some deaf folks.
Yeah, I was in the movie Coda.
Okay.
which won the Academy Award a 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was one of those deals where I was on set. I go, I don't think these people like me. No one's talking to me.
Oh shit! But well, no, it just it's one of those things that you told the story around the fire about how everybody had their translators doing the sign language and shit, and it's just something that I guess I hadn't considered that would have to be something that you'd have to do in a situation like that.
Yeah, there's they had people who could sign and read lips and like that, so that when you were getting directed, they would tell you what they wanted, and then someone would sign it to the other actor and whatever. And me being the idiot I am, and it comes out a little bit in my scene where you think if you talk louder, it's gonna matter.
Yeah. No.
You want some ice? You want some ice? It's like, what are you doing? They still can't hear you.
It's like that with foreigners too. For some reason, if somebody doesn't speak English, if we just speak louder and slower at them, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, I was with a guy one time. We were up in Montreal, and he thought if he spoke in a French accent, that would help.
Oh, Jesus.
We are looking for, how do you say, St. Catherine Street? Yeah, it's right down there.
Oh, fuck.
This cigar is really good, by the way.
I was going to say, so I was just about to pivot to cigars, so this works out well. So, no, I'm liking this. I think I've just kind of crept into the second third here. And it's smooth. It's very creamy, but at the same time, there is that level of strength and spice and there's that other component, which I guess is the binder.
Yeah, it's the fucking binder, dude.
Fucking binder.
And the sweetness sort of goes away.
Yeah.
It's not overpowering on any level.
But I think that binder really offsets some of the negative characteristics of Ecuadorian shade. You
sometimes get that bitterness.
Yeah. You don't get that with this.
No, not at all. No, I've been liking it. So in terms of cigars, kind of what do you normally smoke? Like what? I mean, I know you said you will smoke whatever, and if you don't like it, you'll kind of pocket it and give it away later or something. But when you have your choice,
anything dark in Nicaraguan, I love.
Okay.
You know what I mean? For a while, I was on the Hoyo de Nicaragua, which I really enjoyed. Also getting to know Nick a little bit. I've been enjoying, his offerings immensely.
The Maduro or
the Maduro? I like Sangrona Maduro.
Okay.
For some reason, when I see a light wrapper, and I know it doesn't always translate that way, I think of it as a light cigar, and I like a.
Nick doesn't do a light Connecticut.
No, he doesn't. No.
That's something that I know a lot of people get confused about, thinking that the champagne is going to be a light cigar, and it's totally not.
Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah.
But,
the Perdomo 30th is one of my favorite cigars on the planet.
Yeah, that's a good one. A good one. So, have you done any of the farm trips with Ed? Gone and done anything like that?
No, I don't leave the country.
Oh, okay.
There's been incidents.
That might be best. I was gonna say.
There's no need for me to cause an international.
No.
Locked Up Abroad with Tony V. It could be a whole new series.
I did. I don't know.
Oh shit! Now, how did you two meet?
Right here.
Right, here.
In his very studio.
Yeah. I was doing a podcast with another buddy of mine, Ricky Carter, who's a real estate attorney, and he wanted to shake up that business a little bit. So he had a real estate podcast called Real Estate House Party. And he brought me in to be the turd in the punch bowl. And Ed was producer.
I was the producer.
Yeah, he was the producer back then. And then we hit it off over our love of cigars and music.
We
specifically.
like music, right?
We love the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old time rock and roll.
There you go.
Yeah.
What, the kind of music?
That moves your soul.
Yeah.
All right. And then you guys
And then we did a show together called Dueling Comedians.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, where Ed was. What was your name?
Laugh Track Larry.
Laugh Track Larry.
I remember that.
Remember? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very dry, very funny. Yeah.
And then I worked with you and Jimmy.
And then I had a podcast with my buddy Jimmy Dunn called Two Boston Guys Whack Up a Pie. And Ed was our producer.
And that's when you did the pumpkin.
That's when we did the pumpkin. Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's what made Jimmy quit, or
It's hard with my buddy Jimmy to know what gets in his head and when he's had enough.
it felt sudden.
Yeah, it did. It did. Yeah, we went and bought a pumpkin, giant pumpkin.
It was a little more than you went and bought a giant pumpkin.
Well, I think it started on the podcast.
Somebody,
they'd do news stories and talk about them, and there was somebody that had bought a giant pumpkin and hollowed it out to make a boat and then floated down a river.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and we said to ourselves, we can beat that. And so we there's a local thing called the Topsfield Fair.
Okay.
They have a giant pumpkin competition.
Right. Who's got the biggest
Who's
pumpkin?
got the biggest pumpkin? Right. And so we started a GoFundMe or a thing to raise money to buy a giant pumpkin.
Okay.
And Ed, Jimmy, and I went to the Topsfield Fair, and there were all kinds of giant pumpkins. They were massive pumpkins, and these guys don't want to bring the pumpkins home, you know.
No.
So they sell them.
Yeah, you're not going to get a top tier pumpkin. We wanted to take it with us. You know, the winning pumpkins are going to stay at the fair.
At the fair.
For display purposes.
So you're looking for like the 5th place pumpkin. You're not looking for
something
like the
like
first place pumpkin.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then other places buy them, like restaurants will buy them for their fall display.
But
you know,
yeah, we were walking around before looking at their suitability as boats. The little misshapen.
Yeah. When we put that in the water, how is it going to situate itself?
Balance. Yeah.
And so what it came down to was,
I think we only ended up with one guy that would sell us a pumpkin.
One guy wanted to sell us a pumpkin. And we said, okay, we'll take it. We go, we have this much money. He goes, I'll take it. And then we loaded the pumpkin in Jimmy's truck.
Wow, that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was a heavy, what was it, 800?
It was 860 pounds.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So, I mean, they had forklifts and stuff there. And Jimmy's got a Toyota Tacoma at the time. I'm Googling to see how much weight can you put in the back of this.
It's dragging on the ground.
That's the thing. And you know, Jimmy goes, I don't want that in the back of my truck. I go, it's a truck. What do you have a truck for if you're not going to haul shit? What's the purpose of having
Now
it?
that I think about it, that probably was
That might have been it. Yeah.
What was the game plan for getting it out of the back of the truck, though?
We didn't really have one. We didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he had to drive around for days.
And then he saw somebody driving by with a front loader.
Yeah.
You know, he's connected. He knows a lot of people up at Hampton Beach where he lives.
So he just hailed the person over.
Hey, can you take this off of my truck?
Now, I think in some of those transactions of moving the pumpkin, it affected the integrity of the pumpkin.
We didn't know it. Yeah.
Oh.
So there was a crack in it on the bottom that we didn't know about. So it started to rot prematurely because there was like a week and a half between when we were going to float it.
And originally it was a crazier plan because we were going on the river. You remember
we were going to try to, we were originally going to do it in the Mystic River. There's a casino here and they have a dock. And we were going to try to paddle it across a inlet from my home in Charlestown to this casino.
So we had to start looking for places to launch the pumpkin.
Right.
We didn't know about currents in this river. And all. Somehow we decided it was a better idea to go in the ocean,
Ocean.
in the pumpkin.
Right. Yeah. Jimmy lives right there on the beach. He lives, like a half a mile to a place where we do it. So we got radio coverage.
Yeah.
We had the woman, the morning radio lady came out and was interviewing us, and then we put the pumpkin in and we start carving it, and it immediately starts taking on water because it's compromised.
Right,
But
because as it turns out, you got to put the pumpkin in and see how it wants to float, and actually
then carve.
carve it
in the water.
Right. See, there's a lot going on. And
I wouldn't have known that.
Sawzall and shovels.
I'm standing in the ocean up to my hips with a sawzall. And we had already talked to the head giant pumpkin guy,
Right.
to tell us, to give us some pointers or whatever. And so it did get compromised, but it still floated
For a while.
Okay.
for a bit. So we were able to float on it, not in it.
Not in it.
So
Okay.
we both crawled on it and got our picture taken and everything. And then we just chopped it up more and left it in the ocean.
So some fish had some nice pumpkin.
Yeah. We figured it was going to disintegrate. And then we thought, like, what if a guy in a boat hits a chunk of pumpkin? It's going to be hard to deny it's not ours.
Yeah, real
Right.
hard.
The Topsfield Fair is in the fall, right?
Okay.
And they're deciding to go play in the ocean.
Oh God, so it's
And they
freezing
go-
cold.
Right.
It was cold. We had wetsuits.
They had wetsuits.
Oh shit.
Really ridiculous.
Yeah.
Then apparently the pumpkin fucked up Jimmy Dunn's suspension.
Yeah, on his truck. He had to get a new truck.
I mean, yeah.
I guess that was the tearing.
I think it was.
Yeah, I
It
think
wasn't long after.
Yeah.
That
Sorry.
probably would be the thing.
I
Yeah.
just
When-
put that together when you said it. Yeah.
No.
Yep.
I don't know what to say. I Googled it. It said it should work.
I mean, he could have put his foot down and said, "Absolutely not. I'm not putting this in my truck."
He was halfway there.
but he let it go.
Talk him into
We
it.
did
I
talk
think,
him into it. And we had to get the pumpkin off the premises
that day.
that day. Yeah.
Mm.
So it was either that or roll it down Route 1.
we probably should have brought a trailer.
Probably.
And
Yeah,
And it may
U-Haul,
not
something
have-
like that.
have
Yeah.
got damaged, right? Because it barely fit,
Yeah.
width-wise into the Tacoma.
Well,
Yeah,
that's not a big truck.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Apparently don't put an 800 and some odd pound pumpkin in it.
Yeah. I got to say, we were a little enamored with the whole, we weren't thinking straight, with your funnel cakes and your giant turkey legs at a fair.
I get that.
So I think we were a little drunk with power.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was a sound idea,
Yeah.
No,
ish. I
Right.
mean,
it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
exactly. Whatever.
Yeah.
Oh
So
shit.
yeah, it's probably all those days of
Yeah.
driving around
With
with
a
it in
pumpkin.
back.
And his wife going, when's that pumpkin getting off our lawn?
Oh God. So yeah. So then it gets out of his truck and gets just dumped on his lawn.
Yeah, on a pallet. Yeah. And it's sitting there. And now he's got people stopping in front of his house taking pictures of the He doesn't have easy access to his side door
He bit off way more than he could chew
Yeah.
with his pumpkin
Yeah,
idea.
he bit off more than chew when he became my friend. That's what,
Well, and then you had to get the pumpkin from Jimmy's house to the ocean.
Well, okay, that's what I was also sitting here thinking. Is you're saying it's like a half a mile to the ocean from his house?
I think he found another guy.
he found another guy with a front loader,
Okay.
and then he came and he picked it up on the pallet and everything, because you can't just bounce it around,
Well, no, I mean, especially if it's already compromised. But you
Yeah.
guys didn't know that.
Yeah, and then the guy drove it right down the beach, put it in the water, and we proceeded from there.
History was made.
History was made.
Now, see, what I'm listening to this and what I'm hearing is that if two guys can climb onto a pumpkin and float in the ocean, there's no reason on earth that Leonardo DiCaprio couldn't have fit on that door in Titanic with what's-her-face.
That's
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
That's
That's
the
a
whole,
good point.
yeah. I mean, it's a whole freaking door. You guys could fit on a pumpkin, for God's
Yeah.
sakes,
How about scooch over?
right? You know, just saying.
I love that movie too, by the way. The Titanic.
Yeah.
Not for the love story, which was hokey, but there's a part in the Titanic that absolutely floors me about any movie where the ship's going down and the ass end of it sort of goes up.
Yep.
And there's a guy on the fantail on the back. And as it starts to tip, he falls off. And he falls, I don't know, 100 feet or however long it's going to be. And
Yeah.
he hits the propeller. And you actually hear the propeller go, tink. And you're watching it, and I go, that is the perfect sound for a guy's skull hitting a propeller. And then I cut to, the sound guy, the sound editor, going, sitting with his things going, let me see, clunk? No.
No.
No. Tink. That's it. I'm a genius.
Hopefully he won an award.
I hope so. I would have to look it up if they won for sound editing. But
There were lots of awards, but yeah, I don't know.
that was the most brilliant thing I've ever seen in a movie.
Oh, shit. Well, speaking of movies, why don't we do this now? It's time for the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, brought to you by
Villiger.
Villiger Cigars, one of the leading cigar and cigarello manufacturers in the world, founded in 1888 and still family-owned and operated. Head over to VilligerCigars.com and check the store locator to find a shop near you that carries them. We guarantee that Villiger Cigars will be a wonderful addition to your humidor and cigar rotation. You know, I just got to the point that I had to take the band off this cigar. It was getting right. It's a very large band. I still have half a cigar to go, but I had,
I'm melting mine down for the gold.
There you go.
That's another thing I do too, is I take the bands off
Early.
immediately.
Yeah.
Because I don't want people discussing this guy.
Do you,
What are you smoking? Something I like.
yeah, whatever. A cigar. Do you find that you have wrapper tears when you do that too early? Or are you just really careful?
If it doesn't give right away, I'll let it heat up. Because I know that the heat, makes the adhesive a little bit more pliable and it's easier as you go down. But so if I'm getting any resistance, I'll smoke it a little bit till it's easier.
I had one last night where I was taking the band off and it was coming off just fine. And then right at the end, apparently when they glued it, the one part was like folded over. So the band was like glued to itself. And so I'm tugging on the part that I'm pulling off and it just won't come off because it's pulling the other half of the band. So now I have to like get in there and I ripped the hell out of the wrapper on that cigar trying to get that thing off.
You could have used Tony with his Sawzall.
I could have. You're right. A Sawzall.
Cut that right off for you. Could have floated.
Well, this is the part when we talk about things that we've been watching and entertained by. So, and I know Ed always has some good stuff to throw in on this segment. But what have you guys been watching? What's caught your eye? What have you been entertained by lately?
What do you got, Tony?
I just watched a docuseries on Wyatt Earp and the OK Corral called Wyatt and the Cowboy Wars.
I saw that.
Fantastic.
Great.
Narrated by Ed Harris.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
just wonderful because you get we have the stylized versions, which were started by Wyatt Earp himself. His
Okay.
reputation.
I love Tombstone. That's like one of my favorite movies.
My son and I, we watch that every time we're together.
I contend that's probably Val Kilmer's best role.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And he did some good shit, but like I still think Doc Holliday was, and he made that movie.
He really did. I mean, I love that movie so much.
Yeah.
My son and I watch it religiously when he's home, and so I watched it. It's a 6-part docuseries, and it just sheds light on the whole thing, and it puts it in historic, significance. It almost started a second revolution. I mean, not revolution, civil war, because
Really?
because the his vendetta ride became like a polarizing thing between the townspeople who were identified as Southern and the government who was trying to clean things up. They're taking away our rights and blah blah blah. So it almost came to a clash. And J.P. Morgan's involved in it because he wants to buy the railroads, and British don't want to invest in America because the West is not settled, and they're hearing all these stories about gunfights and stagecoach robberies, and it was just it was just amazing. And Ike Clanton, who they hint at in Tombstone being a sniveling little prick, is like the most sniveling little prick you've ever witnessed in your life. And he was started that whole thing about planting falsehoods in the media to get his side of the story out first. It was amazing. It was, if that stuff interests you, I highly recommend it.
No, definitely. That sounds really neat.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it was great.
Give you the thumbs up.
Thank you.
So what else have you guys been watching? Ed, do you have anything?
I've been watching some old-timey stuff.
Go for it.
Have you ever heard of a series called Banachek?
So the name is striking a familiar time. Is it a cop or detective thing? No.
Insurance investigator.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Hard.
George Papard is in it.
George Papard.
Pre-A team, and he smokes a lot of cigars.
Yeah. The long thin ones. What are those?
Yeah, Lonsdale's.
Lonsdale's.
Okay. Okay. How did you end up watching Banachek?
I have no idea how these things happen to me.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I remember the show. It was 1972 to 74.
Took place in Boston.
It took place in Boston, and they got some nice scenery and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's, all 70s stuff. A lot of the, dames and all that stuff going on.
Yeah.
And listen, the episodes are interesting. It's like an unsolvable mystery to start, right?
Okay.
I think the first episode is a football game, and the running back gets tackled, big pile of people, and
Yeah.
they get up, and he's gone. It's just his helmet there. It's that starts the mystery, and he's smoking cigars everywhere. He'll just walk into an office and light up one of his cigars.
Ah, the good old days.
Way more smoking than A-Team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I believe he also smoked the same style of cigar,
But he seldom lit it, right?
Yeah, it was a different time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I long for the days you could smoke in a hospital.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Then I went down the rabbit hole on what was George Papard smoking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check. Turns out there was a place called the 21 Club in New York.
Yeah.
Very interesting place, right? Started as a speakeasy and all of that. And he had his personal humidor there, so he was smoking his own cigars on the show.
Oh, shit.
Interesting thing was, even though it was 1972, I think there's a good chance they were Cuban cigars. And let me explain why.
Okay.
Because in 1959, the owners of the 21 Club, they were getting their private label made in Cuba.
Okay.
And they saw Castro come in and said, "Whew, this could be trouble." So I believe it was in 1960, they ordered 1 million Cuban cigars.
Holy shit.
Yeah, Kennedy got nothing on them
I was going to say.
for the 21 Club.
Yeah.
So I couldn't find out when they ran out of stock, but if Papard was buying them and keeping them in a humidor, he certainly could have had them.
It was likely. Yeah.
So
Yeah, out of 1 million? Yeah, I'm guessing.
Yeah, the other interesting thing that happened though was after the embargo, people were saying, "Oh, I can't get any cigars. I can't get any." So they did wholesale some of their collection to other clubs and venues. But
Interesting.
yeah,
You
so I
got to
went,
wonder how many of those million were smokable, though.
If
yeah.
they were handled, I mean, how do you store 1 million cigars?
Well, I'm just saying, like, how many of them
Yeah.
are plugged up and everything
Well,
else? Because I mean,
yeah,
some of the Cubans I've had have been, some have been good, some have been kind of plugged up. You got to work
I
it a little
think
bit.
it's probably on their normal average, a
Okay.
few per box.
Yeah. But when you're talking a million, it's like, shit, man. Are you talking like 20,000 of that million, or
Possibly.
Possibly,
I
yeah.
mean, that's crazy. But yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you like
Okay.
watching people smoke and say sexist things and solving mysteries, then Banachek is the thing for you.
Yeah, that was.
Okay. I
I
was
also watched the 50th anniversary of Jaws.
Hmm.
I just watched Jaws not too long ago myself. It was on AMC while I was on the treadmill, and I was watching Jaws while I was doing that. And
Great flick.
it is. The sequel sucked, but the first one was so good, and
Really,
Robert.
so fortuitous that they had problems with their shark.
Oh, it worked out so well.
To shoot around it
Yeah.
really made it way more suspenseful.
Yeah.
100%. If they would have been showing that shark early in the movie, it would have killed it.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Robert Shaw, he stole the show in that movie.
Oh my God.
So,
It was so good.
although I will say, I did just say the sequel sucked. I have a soft spot in my heart for Jaws 3 because there's something about the idea of Jaws at SeaWorld that just cracks my shit up.
Oh yeah,
No.
yeah.
You got Lou Gossett Jr. running the thing, and he's in front of the big glass window, and the sharks, and it's in 3D, so it's like the shark's coming at you, and it's the most ridiculous fucking premise ever.
That probably inspired Sharknado.
It had to. I lost it with the franchise when the shark ate the helicopter.
I think that was 2.
Yeah.
That one wasn't that good.
Yeah.
I mean, not that 3 is great. 3 is a horrible movie, but it's just there's something about it. I'm like, I like those 80s 3D movies, but I don't like them for the 3D. I like them for the 3D now when you don't have the glasses and you realize that they were doing like Friday the 13th Part 3 was the 3D. And they're like, here, would you like a lighter? And they're holding it at the camera. They're doing this shit, holding it at the camera. And it's just, it's there just solely to give it that 3D effect. And it just cracks my shit up watching it now without the glasses. But anyway. The other day I was sitting and I was working on a few things on my laptop in the living room. And I just had the TV on. And I'll be damned if... Mama's Family with Vicki Lawrence came on.
Oh my!
And I started watching that, and I haven't seen. I mean, that show is just—it's one I can sit and watch. It's just ridiculous, but I do like Vicki Lawrence in that role.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, nice job. Very talented.
Yeah.
Then I watched the original True Grit with John Wayne.
Oh, okay.
Which was who? Glenn Campbell. Kim Darby. Yeah.
They did that remake, and it wasn't nearly as good.
No.
No.
Was
Campbell?
Glenn
A
Campbell.
guitar player.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
He was, yeah.
Tony and I went down a rabbit hole one day.
Yeah.
To Glenn Campbell play guitar.
Yeah, he's a good guitar player. He was.
Okay. Ed, anything else you want to throw in on this? You always have some really good picks.
Well, I did just get through the latest season of The Bear.
I'm behind on that, but yeah.
I kind of feel like it's more of the same.
Yeah.
To keep it in the food, it tasted like really good quality leftovers.
Okay. That's
But I mean,
noted.
watching. Then on the what's the one you've been doing lately? The golfing thing there.
Oh, Stick.
Stick. You know, when you were comparing it with
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso, I said, no, the difference is Ted Lasso is way more syrupy.
Oh, 100%.
You know?
No. Stick is like, it's positive, but it's like dirty positive. It's like these people are all really fucked up, but yet they're figuring their way through it. Whereas Ted Lasso, it's kind of like everybody's still kind of happy, even though they're dealing with bullshit.
What's the girl's name?
In Stick?
Yeah.
Oh, the younger one, the girlfriend?
Strange name or something.
Zero?
Zero, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he is a big zero. I don't
I don't like her.
I don't like her at all. She's
I
not,
like the interaction between Owen Wilson and Mark Maron.
Yeah. Yeah. Maron does a decent job.
Yeah.
Him with the mother is pretty good too.
Yeah.
The kid don't seem to have much together.
Yeah, the kids, I mean, they're kids, you know. I mean,
What do you
I rarely find a young actor that I'm like, okay, this is good, you know. It's most of the time it's serviceable at best.
Not since Paper Moon, right?
No.
Oh shit, I had something I was going to ask about. Oh, you were talking about food. I just started watching the Julia Child show on HBO. It's called Julia, and I've only watched one episode of it so far, and it wasn't bad. The first episode, David Hyde Pierce plays her husband, and
Me or something? Or
I'm sorry,
is it just Julia or is it Julia and Me or something like that?
it's just Julia. The name of it is just the name of it is Julia, and but the first episode basically talks all about how she was going on this book review show on PBS to talk about her new cookbook, and ended up deciding to do a impromptu demonstration of how to make an omelet, and everybody loved it, but she still had to talk PBS into allowing her to do a pilot, and she apparently funded the pilot all on her own because they didn't want to do it, and so it's leading up to that. But they talk in there about how they got this mountain of letters talking about how much they love Julia's demonstration, and it was 27 letters. And they said that's a lot for PBS, you know. But she started up there in the Boston area, which I didn't realize that.
Absolutely.
So,
It came
Oh, yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
Very nice housing came.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then she moved
the
to
outskirts of Harvard.
Montecito eventually,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. She used to shop at Savino's in Cambridge. Oh, she used to shop at Savino's in Cambridge.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. She was apparently a spy as well.
Yes.
I want to know if they're going to get into that. But they started right when she's written the cookbook and getting into the show. I'm wanting to know if they're going to do flashbacks to talk about that, because that's the part that's fascinating to me.
Yeah, well, I said.
Pre-CIA
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Julia was also a TV series way back.
Back then,
With
first
African-American
African American lead in a TV show, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Huh.
Tony and I know so much useless stuff.
We've
got too much full coverage.
The kid. Here's what I remember: the kid's best friend was named Earl J. Wagadorn.
Oh,
God, you do know some useless.
I don't know why I know that.
good pull.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Okay. Well, unless you guys have anything else on that, I'm gonna.
Oh, I
move
think we
on.
covered it all.
Okay. All right. Let's move on here, and we can. Which button? It's this button. It's time to fly high with Blackbird Cigars. Blackbird Cigars offers you remarkable quality using the most delicate and finest tobacco to always ensure that you're receiving unsurpassed cigars. Blackbird Cigars strives to give you undoubted repeating flavor for every cigar you smoke and impressive quality so that you can always expect greatness. Check out their website for a full list of stores carrying Blackbird Cigars and give them a test flight. Blackbird Cigars can't clip our wings.
Now, Nick, this has been becoming almost like my old delightful news, where one of
It
my
always ends poorly.
one of my favorites. Usually, mine start poorly. My favorite was a guy who was in a wheelchair and somehow rolled down a hill and off a dock into a lake.
Oh, God.
It was delightful because he didn't die.
Oh, that's
well,
good.
well, nobody dies, at least at the time in the story.
All right.
So you mentioned Robin Williams earlier. So in 1990, Robin Williams was filming a movie in Washington, D.C. when he learned about the dire conditions at the Whitman Walker Clinic, which provided care for HIV/AIDS patients and often served homeless individuals. Many patients were dying alone, neglected by their families and society. Instead of writing a check or doing a photo op, Robin showed up in person, unannounced, and spent time with the patients. He made them laugh, he hugged them, he brought them food, listened to stories, and even performed private stand-up routines at bedside just to bring a smile to people who were in unimaginable pain. But that wasn't the only time he did something like this. Williams was also a longtime supporter of Comic Relief USA, a charity that raised money for the homeless. And from 1986 onward, he co-hosted the Comic Relief TV specials with Billy Crystal and Whoopi Goldberg, raising over $50 million. And what few people knew is that Robin quietly funded shelters, paid for treatment programs, and provided housing for individuals trying to get off the streets, all without seeking credit. He simply saw people in pain and used the tools he had to ease it. So be like Robin Williams and Blackbird Cigars and don't let anybody clip your wings. So there, that's a positive.
Nothing to add.
There you go.
He was great. He was a very magnanimous man. He was a good human.
And it's one of those ones that when he did pass, I'm not one that normally when a celebrity passes, it's like, well, that sucks. It's like, I liked them, but it does. Sometimes you see these folks when they're bawling and it means so much to them when a celebrity passes. That's just not me, but that one hit a little bit. It's like that one, he was.
The Tony Bourdain hit too, I think.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah, I don't comment much for that. I say save your grief for people you love.
Who was the other one? Harold Ramis. That one hit me. I liked Harold Ramis.
Yeah.
Did you ever meet or do anything with him?
Me? Oh yeah. Yeah. Not on screen. I was with him on September 10th.
Oh shit.
Before September 11th. I was doing a show in New York City at Le Cirque for Bon Appetit magazine. Todd English, one of the celebrity chefs, he was getting an award, and he asked me to come down again, be the turd in the punch bowl. He goes, "These things are so stuffy, we need to shake this up a little bit." And I go, "I'm your guy," and we flew down on the 10th, and we had this great show where it was just great. And Harold Ramis was giving a pastry chef from Chicago her award, and we got to talking, and he really liked my antics, and we had a good night. We hung out afterwards, and it was a lot of fun. And then we woke up to mayhem in the morning.
I was gonna say that's a hell of a way to transition from that to the next day. But
Tony can tell you the exact date.
Yeah. So when people go, "You know where you were?" I go, "Oh, I know exactly where I was."
All right then.
Yeah, we were talking to the Food Network and stuff, and then it all just went to hell.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a funny night. This is one of the swankiest restaurants in New York. And it's, all these chefs and everything in Bon Appetit magazine. It's very swanky. And I got the bright idea to have a pizza delivered for the dinner.
I mean, sometimes you just have a craving for pizza.
Yeah. I go, I didn't know it was going to be this good. That was a lot of hype. And I had to get it past Alphonse, the maitre d'.
Yeah.
And, so I go, "Hey, Alphonse, I want a pizza delivered." He goes, "Very good, sir." He goes, when would you like your pizza delivered? I go, I don't know. It's got a timing thing. So if we can have the pizza here, and it was from Domino's, and he goes, I go, maybe you can, I'll give you a sign. He goes, yes, perhaps you'll wiggle your nose.
See, it sounds like a fun guy.
So I walk away and I go, I'm going to be damned if I let this guy get away with this. And I go, Alphonse, I know it's a gag. I know where I am. It's, it's meant to be funny. He goes, yes, sir. It's very funny.
He didn't get the humor.
And then I had the pizza delivered, and this Domino's kid didn't know what the hell he was walking into. And then I passed the hat for him to get a tip.
Nice.
And he all these guys are digging in their pockets, and he ended up with like a $250 tip.
I was going to say, he probably did really well.
Yeah, he did very well. Yeah.
That's good. That's awesome. All right. Well, you know what? Let's do this now.
Guess what, motherfucker?
It's time for 3 cigars we smoked and enjoyed this week. So this is one we just basically rattle off a couple of cigars that we smoked and we enjoyed. And you can kind of give a shout out. So does anybody have one?
You want to go?
I've been smoking a lot of the McAuliffe firecrackers, as has.
That's what I got right here. I got a box. Yeah, that's what I'm going to. Yeah, the McAuliffe, they're really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really, really good. Yeah.
As you may be aware, Nick, I was down at J.C. Newman's factory.
Oh yeah. No, I'd like to hear stories about that.
Yeah, we don't have time for that.
No. We don't have to do that today, but I definitely would like to hear stories about how that went. You went down and did that program.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That could be a whole show.
I was going to say, well, I'll let you guys do it first, obviously.
One of the cigars I had, we were just down in their storage room for, the cigars they make at the factory in the U.S., and a whole bunch of Angel Quest down there. And the guy said, here, have one of these Lanceros. So that one was a good one.
You smoked a Lancero. Well, you don't mind Lanceros.
I don't mind a Lancero.
Your fingers don't look fat with a Lancero.
No, they don't.
Speaking of,
yeah.
What?
Well, you start talking about them.
How you doing, Dave? He's booted off his own stage.
he's not a fan of the Lanceros.
No, of course.
No. I was thinking about that when you were talking about how you had the pizza delivered. You could have just pulled a Dave and just had the cheese and cracker packets in your pocket.
Oh, yeah, those are good.
Just in case.
Just in case.
I had one of the hot cake fresh out of the oven.
Okay.
This year's release, it's almost like a double Corona, big cigar. Very delicious.
Do you like it as much as last year's version?
Maybe a little less.
Little less.
But who knows? It's really hard to remember and compare.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a lot of cigars in between.
I get that. I smoked that the street HVC, the street tacos, the El Pastor. I have HVC written. It's a Rojas. Street tacos, the Al Pastor. It wasn't bad. It was one I hadn't tried before. I'd tried the barbacoa and some of the others, but I hadn't had the Al Pastor yet, and so I tried that recently, and that was good. I enjoyed that.
Artistas upped their game. They're making some good stuff.
There you go. And then
I got a West Tampa.
Did you?
Yeah.
Which one? The devil crab?
No.
Is it the cartoon looking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't had that one yet. What
pretty
did that?
good.
Was it good?
It's good.
It's
good. It's got a lot of flavor. It's heavy like I like. You know what I mean? It's got and pretty consistent all the way through.
And you look a ridiculous shaped cigar.
I do. I do. The more ridiculous, the better for me. Yeah.
I haven't found a West Tampa yet that I dislike. The white is probably my least favorite of what they've put out, but even that, it's still good.
It's just not, my flavor profile.
Precisely.
Somebody hands me one, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah,
all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
consistent. Yeah.
Tony's not saving it for later.
No, no. And then I got gifted a Trinidad, a Cuban Trinidad.
That's a nice
And it's just a nice, it'll seem legit.
It's light for
Yeah,
you.
yeah, it
but
is light for
the
me.
Flavor on
And I
it
used to
is-
smoke them when I could get them a lot.
Yeah.
But, since then, my
That was one
palate
of
has
my
changed.
favorites
Yeah,
of
I
the
like
bunch.
that.
Yeah.
And a Bolivar. Someone gave me a Cuban Bolivar, which was good.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right then.
Good
I
him.
broke out. I got in the humidor. I've been moving stuff around, and I discovered that I still had a box. It was about half empty of Diamond Crown Maximus Robustos, and so I had one of those the other morning out on the patio with some coffee and just kind of watching the squirrels in the backyard, and that was nice. That was pleasant.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
That'd be a good euphemism for something.
Watching the squirrels.
Backyard. How you feeling? I'm watching squirrels in the
but Tony,
backyard.
he was literally watching.
I literally was. No, I've got a pile of some brush back there, and like 4 of them were just romping around, digging around in it and shit. So I don't know what was going, but it was entertaining at the time.
That's better than any TV show. Sure.
I mean, hey, whatever, So, better than the raccoon that almost came into the garage with me the other night. I was sitting out, I had the door up, and I was sitting out having a cigar, and next thing I know, there's this raccoon probably 5 feet from me walking around the driveway, and it just kind of stopped and looked in the garage at me, and thankfully it went on its way. I didn't want to have to fight a raccoon. That would have been...
raccoons from all your dumpster hanging around.
I see them occasionally.
Yeah.
I saw the best thing I've seen in quite some time on the street in Charlestown, where I live.
Yeah.
I saw a seagull trying to fly away with a dead rat. It was very entertaining.
Too heavy for the seat?
Yeah, he was having trouble. Then cars were coming by, and he got scared off. I don't know if he went back, but he could.
Seagulls eat rats?
I think they'll eat anything. Maybe he didn't know it was a rat. I don't know.
Okay.
Those are sort of the rat air force.
Yeah,
Aren't they?
yeah.
Well, I mean, shit, man. I know the few times I've been down at Disney with my kid, you got to watch it because you'll be walking around. If you're holding food, they'll come out of the sky and just knock it out of your hand and take
Oh,
it.
I've had a seagull take a tuna fish sandwich right out of my hand.
Oh, shit.
You know what strange thing I saw yesterday?
What's that?
I said to myself, there's something you don't see every day. It was a low rider dually.
What?
Yes.
What is the point of that?
I don't know. It's like 2 bad ideas combined.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean-
but it's like, wait, does it got dual wheel? Yeah, it does.
Wow.
Living here in Southern Illinois, I see a lot of these big damn trucks, and I'm not, more power to them. It's not my thing, and
But
I
you
kind of...
Many wheels. Because
Well,
most of them aren't hauling heavy stuff.
Well, that's the thing. I can understand why in my area I might see that because you might be hauling like a grain bin or something like that, but like up in your area, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's cause for that, but then to make it a low rider, that's
It was
just
already almost scraping
In
the
the
ground.
ground, yeah.
You couldn't put anything in the back
No.
of that.
That's just
can't put an 860-pound pumpkin in the back of that.
Oh, no.
No.
I saw
Although it'd
the most useless thing I've ever seen, which is a Maserati SUV.
Why?
I'm gonna see that, people. I'm gonna see that the guy throwing sod in the back of his Maserati. Yeah,
I mean, maybe.
maybe.
You think it does
Maybe.
185?
And it would have to be
Yeah.
if life was to him. It would be.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Tony and I can have whole conversations of
Just-
song lyrics. That was
Yeah.
Joe Walsh for
That was
you.
Joe Walsh.
Oh, well, okay then.
My Maserati does 185.
It went right over my head, but
Life's been good to me so far.
Yeah.
then how do you not do better on the Avo deal?
I usually do better than Jonathan, but
That's true.
Dave's picking some obscure stuff.
Some of them, there's been a few times I've been and I'm not good at that game at all. Like I'm not good at name that tune at all. There's been a few times I've been in my car and I've been screaming at the radio at the two of you, like, it's this. And yeah, every once in a while.
You should scream louder, then I'd hear you.
Yeah, no, you
Oh,
guys have already recorded it.
Yeah. Get it.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Well, guys, what do you think of the Perdomo Legacy? I'm down to the final third on this thing. And
Well,
the spice level on it's picked up a little bit in the final third.
Yeah. I buy it by the box.
Yeah. I am enjoying the hell out of this, and if I were to look at it in a humidor on a shelf, I'd go, it's too light for me, but it's not at all.
No.
Really, for the price point, what is it, about $15?
I feel like it was right around that.
I mean, that's a good price for the quality of the smoking experience.
100%, which, I mean, the 30th is about the same, and that's a super good cigar, too. So I give them a lot of credit at Perdomo for putting out really, really good cigars and not charging that extra premium. I mean, for the Legacy, shit, if they would have charged $20 for a Epicure, I don't think anybody would have complained, but, putting it at 15, yeah, it just makes it that much more accessible to people.
Delightful.
Yeah, I dig it. I like it. I'm looking forward to trying the other two now.
You should.
Yeah, I will. I wanted to start with this one, though. Since we were doing this, I wanted to start it with this one.
Right, the Maduro's also got that same binder.
Okay.
All in the fucking binder, dude.
The fucking binder.
Except for the shade grown where it's in the wrapper.
It's in the wrapper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The binder to the wrapper.
Yeah.
All right. The last thing I got to ask about, and you've talked about it on The Authority, but I got to bring it up here. You were the American Tourister monkey?
It's
Right.
not monkey.
Please, Gorilla.
Gorilla. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was for 4 years. Yep. It's an old TV commercial.
Yeah.
And somewhere in the 80s, they brought it back to have give voice to the gorilla.
Yeah.
And I was the voice of the gorilla. I was the gorilla. I had a gorilla suit, and I traveled about to different store openings, and I did the Jerry Lewis telethon one time, and it was quite an experience.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's way many good stories.
it could be a whole nother show.
Well,
with
All right.
trying
Well,
to tell Tony that we should do a podcast called Guerrilla Warfare.
see, no, this is what I think you need to do. Have you guys seen those AI videos that have been, they're all over the social, with the Bigfoot doing the vlogging and all that shit?
Yeah.
You need to do that, but somehow make those to where then Tony is doing the voice, and then you could bring the voice of the American Tourister gorilla back, and you could tell your stories that way with a little
gorilla.
Yeah, do like the stories, the AI videos, but then you can tell the stories as the gorilla. I think that would be fun. I watch the hell out of those things.
And his unfortunate encounter with
Spud McKenzie, yeah. And Ronald McDonald.
How do you have an unfortunate encounter with Spuds McKenzie?
Well, should we do it? I'll give you the drunk.
Okay, we'll end on the Spuds McKenzie story.
Okay.
I gotta know the Spuds McKenzie story.
I was doing the Jerry Lewis telethon in Atlanta, Georgia, one of the spinoffs, and it was an outdoor thing. And the three honored guests were me in the gorilla suit, and Spuds McKenzie, a guy in a Spuds McKenzie suit, the bear dog.
Yeah.
And Ronald McDonald, the official Ronald McDonald. And it was as hot as can be. It's Atlanta, Georgia, September. It's, I don't know, 98 degrees, 100% humidity.
Your suit was made of yak fur.
My
Oh, God.
back hair with me in a leotard under it, and then the musculature in another leotard. So I was in 3 layers.
Oh, my God.
And everything was buttoned up. And what they don't tell us is during this live event, we're going to be taught a traditional Southern type clog dance on the stage which is attached to Ronald McDonald's magic trailer.
Right, because
Yeah.
he big stuff.
He was the
He
big
had-
deal. He had it air conditioned, and he was not allowed to have people see him sweat.
Yeah.
Be sweat. It was
His
sweating.
face comes
His
off.
face comes off, and the kids freak out.
It's a whole
I
thing.
had no such clause in my contract. They didn't care how much water I left.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we're doing this, and there's a nice Southern lady in a frilly hoop skirt, and they got a turntable, and they teach us these rudimentary steps to this clog dance, and so as we're dancing, they're gonna prompt people to come and put money in the fishbowl, so Jerry Lewis will get the extra $56 he needs to cure the disease.
Okay.
So we start dancing, and what they don't tell us is every 30 seconds or so, someone on a microphone will go, "Do you want them to go faster?"
Oh, no.
And I maintain that never in the history of "Do you want them to go faster" has anyone ever said, "No, that's good enough." So they were, "Do you want them to go faster?" Yeah. And music would speed up, and we'd start dancing faster. So on about a third or fourth time that they want us to go faster, I look over and Spuds has stopped doing a traditional clog type dance and is doing more of a Grateful Dead sort of wavy, doing my own thing club dance. And I pass Ronald and I go, "I don't think the dog's going to make it." And he drops character completely. He goes, "I'm out of here." And Ronald bolts, and now it's me and the dog on stage, and I take one more step, and the guy goes down. He passes out completely.
Oh, shit.
Right on stage in front of like 300 people who are putting money in the fishbowl, and the record skips. And there's mayhem. Kids are crying. Kids are crying. The gorilla killed the dog. And the hoop lady's no longer smiling. She goes, "You got to do something." I go, "Lady, I'm in a fucking gorilla suit. What am I going to do?" So I grab Spuds, ostensibly under the paws, and I drag him down the 5 steps, clunk, 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 clunk,
Oh, God.
and drag him behind the trailer. And I rip the guy's suit open, take off his head, and he's wearing jeans and a flannel shirt under this
Oh, my God.
mug of a costume, and he's soaking wet, and he smells completely of the product he's endorsing.
Okay.
So he's out, whites of his eyes out, and the lady goes, "You got to do something." I go, "I'm not touching the guy." So they go, "Do something." Now kids are peeking around the corner and they're weeping, and I got my head off and my makeup's running, my hair's all stringy and wet, and so I picked the guy up by the scruff of the neck and I started slapping him like you see in the movie.
Yeah, like, wake up. Yeah.
Wake up, and nothing. I let him go, and now the EMTs are coming. They finally get EMTs there or whatever, and I'm sort of getting relieved of my duties. And just as they're about to work on the guy sits bolt straight up like you see in a movie, like come back from the dead. And he looks around, and he goes, "I need a beer." And I just go, "Buddy, you need a lot of beer." And I look up, and there's Ronald in the framed in the window of the cool confines of his magic trailer, waving at us. And I go, "I got to end this soon."
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Yeah, no, I mean, growing up in the St. Louis area, man, I'm familiar with Spuds McKenzie.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And on a totally somewhat related but unrelated topic, you're talking Rick Rodriguez over there at West Tampa Tobacco and how his favorite beer is Bud Light. And I'm thinking, shit, man, even people in St. Louis don't really care for Bud Light. It's like, what are you doing? But, oh, my God. No, I went to one of my neighbors. He had a beer tasting group, met on Thursday nights every night. And you go over there, and it was all a bunch of people like Jonathan. They'd sit around, taste this beer, and they'd get all these bizarre flavor notes and shit off of it. And so one night, I decide, I'm going to go over there. I bring a growler full of Bud Light with me, and these guys, they're looking at it, they're like, oh, it's very light and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah. And the one guy takes a drink and just goes, is anybody else getting a hint of banana? And so ever since now, I'm just like, you getting the banana on your Bud Light? So next time you see Rick, just ask him if he gets hints of banana off his Bud Light. So anyway. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for taking time out today. I do appreciate it. This has been
It was
fun.
an absolute delight. I had a ball. Thank you.
We'll have to do this on another Tuesday when you've got some time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when Dave has meetings, we don't get.
We don't get to have fun. So
Oh, yeah.
He had a meeting at noon, so it worked out perfect.
Yeah.
Perfectly. All right.
Great.
Well, good. Well, thank you so much. And Ed, I will see you, if not before, I will definitely see you at PulpitFest.
I'm going to that. I'm hoping
You are.
he talks to me.
Well, my dad, you guys are going to
I
have
want to talk to your dad.
You've got curmudgeon corner going on over
Yeah,
there.
he's
so.
willing to do that.
Oh, 100%. I told him that you suggested that, and he's like, perfect. So
We'll curmudgeon together.
Yeah. Because he's saying the same thing. He's like, I'll go. I don't really want to talk to anybody. I'm like, there you go.
Perfect.
Yeah. So it'll be fun. So
Here's how I know I slipped in the curmudgeon. I live in the city. I don't have a yard, but I rent a lawn just to throw kids off of.
Is that
yeah, that's definitely curmudgeon.
I timeshare it with other old guys, so it's always mad.
So on what, Tuesday? Well, not Tuesdays. You're busy on
Yeah,
Tuesdays,
this
so
other guy there.
like Wednesdays and Fridays, you're over there just yelling at kids to get off
timeshare.
the lawn.
Yeah, get off the lawn.
Fantastic. All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
all right? Thank you.
It's a joy.
And I really want to thank Ed and Tony for taking time out of their day to sit and chat with me. I mean, realistically, that conversation could have gone on for hours longer. I mean, Tony's got so many fun stories, and it's always nice to just sit and have a cigar and just have a nice, easy conversation, get to know somebody a little bit, and just have a good time. So I appreciate that today, guys. Thank you so much for giving me that, and I look forward to the next time. All right, well, it is time to talk about the socials. I'm available on Instagram at The Cigar Pulpit. I'm on Facebook, where we have the Pulpit Parishioners group. You can get in on the fun there by finding the group and requesting to join. I do request that you actually answer the questions. They kind of let me know you're not a bot and everything else. And also, quite frankly, they let me know that you acknowledge that you saw the group rules, because, we just have to make sure that those rules are followed. Anyway, and then moving on, we have Twitter/X, where I don't really do much. We have Rumble and YouTube, where you can watch the show, and we are on Spotify video. So if you are a Spotify listener, you can use Spotify to watch the show as well, if you so choose. I do need your calls for the Ask the Pulpit episodes. You can give a hotline a call at area code 863-874-0000. That's area code 863-874-0000. Call in with your comments, questions, concerns, life questions, advice requests. I mean, whatever you want. Just call in and talk to me so I have somebody to talk to. And then otherwise, once again, guys, PulpitFest 2025 coming to you on August 22nd through the 24th in Palm Coast, Florida, at the Ash and Ale Lounge. Come out, hang out with us. It's going to be an awesome time. General admission tickets are still available on Eventbrite. If you go to eventbrite.com and search for PulpitFest, you will find it. And tickets are $35, but you get a $30 in-store credit when you get to the Ash and Ale. So it's really $5 plus some taxes and fees. It's the cheapest cigar event you're going to be able to go to, and you're going to get an awesome goodie bag, and you're going to have an awesome time hanging out with Renee and Hector and the folks from Villiger Cigars. You're going to hang out with Justo and Tremac from Aladino Cigars. And then Dave Garofalo and Ed Sullivan from the Cigar Authority are going to be there too. So it's going to be a great time. You're going to have some fun with some awesome people. You're going to get a lot of good cigars for like $5 and some taxes and fees. So come on down, hang out at PulpitFest, and have a good time. Otherwise, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen to us. I do appreciate it. This has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Nick. Everybody, stay safe and stay smoky. And have a happy 4th of July. I don't want to hear any stories about parishioners blowing off their fingers, so you guys be safe with the fireworks.